So very quickly, I'll take you through the elements of the DAPA architecture. I must, before I start, tell you that the DAPA architecture is a cross-sector architecture. It was first implemented and is most advanced in the financial services sector, where we've got what we call the account aggregator framework for movement of data between banks, non-banking financial institutions, etc. But the second most advanced is in the healthcare sector. DAPA is a core part of the National Digital Health Blueprint. The whole DAPA framework is built on this concept of an electronic consent. And the electronic consent is an artifact that allows consent to be encoded digitally. And when I say that, what do I mean? If you want to, as a data principle, provide consent to the movement of data from one place to the other, we have an artifact, which is essentially a standard, it's an XML standard, which encodes into the request the information of the data fiduciary that currently has the data, information of to whom it must be sent, the details about the purpose, and any other types of information such as retention limitations, etc. I'm using, as a lawyer, I'm using language which is very data protection heavy, but if you recognize it, these are core privacy principles, and these principles are encoded into the data consent artifact. The second thing that we have done is we have disintermediated the consent flows from the data flows. How do we do that? We have created a class of intermediaries called consent managers. And the consent managers vary, they have different names in different sectors. In the financial sector, for instance, it's the account aggregator. And in the healthcare sector, it is going to be the consent manager. So when you want to transfer data from one hospital to another, and let's just take a use case, if you want to get a second opinion, you will go to your consent manager, make a consent request. The consent request will specify what is the data that you want to transfer. Let's just say it's a cancer diagnosis. You want to get all your scans. You want to get whatever other current medications you're on, all of those things. You can make a specific request for that. And then you, on the basis of that, the consent manager will get an authorization from you. It will be digitally signed. That digitally signed consent artifact is then sent to the health information provider that actually holds that information, and they must respond on the basis of that digitally signed artifact. But then the data will actually flow directly from the health information provider to the health information user, in this case, the doctor that's providing the second opinion. The reason why we have the consent manager is because we believe that this aligns incentives properly. And we believe that the consent managers in this construct are entities that are really looking to, in some way work in the interests of the data principle. The benefit of this system is really that, and this is how we're seeing it in the financial services sector, we're about to roll it out in the healthcare sector, is that we're seeing more and more innovative models building up, which are very focused on the individual user. We're finding that the incentives are now aligned to actually move data seamlessly. And from a data protection perspective, we've solved a critical challenge of consent. And that critical challenge of consent is that right now, the only way in which we can collect consent from a user is at the time that the user signs up. And so we find that privacy policies load the consent upfront. And there's a lot of literature about no one really understands the consent they're providing, because there's this long form that says you can do all sorts of things, including transfer it in the future. What the DAPA architecture allows is for a just-in-time consent to be provided for micro-portability. So no longer will you need to collect consent upfront to say that at some later point in time, I'm going to transfer this information to anyone else. Just in time, when you need it, you can seek the consent. That consent is actually very narrowly constrained to the specific data that you want and the purpose that you want to use it for. If you want, you can also include retention obligations. And these retention obligations, as you know, from a data protection perspective, is very important from the minimization principle. So we're hoping that once we roll this construct out, that we're going to be able to, one, have more informed decisions, that users can understand exactly what they're transferring for, have more auditable data transfer flows, because this is entirely digital and therefore completely auditable and trackable. And in the whole process, we're hoping that that first statement that I made, which is leveraging India, the fact that India is data rich, to make India economically and from a health perspective rich as well.